So many times people love to just pack up and move. Said, I've had it. I'm done with this place. I am leaving. And often people don't look through the reasons on why they're going to move in the first place. And Wallet Hub put out another survey, and this one is for doctors. They looked at the best places for doctors to be for their profession, and they looked at all 50 states plus the District of Columbia and came up with a ranking. So how good is it where you live?
Welcome to the Licensed to Live show, where professionals, doctors, champions, VIPs, attorneys, and those in public office discover strategies that help you restart and gain what is lost when you find yourself accused. If another has doubted your integrity, questioned your credentials, or caused your actions to come under scrutiny, you are in the right place. On the other hand, if you have never felt the knot in the pit of your stomach when legal papers are served, the heartbreak of disappointing your family when the lock clicks shut on handcuffs, or had to appear before a board of review, then be aware, the longer you serve, the more likely you are to find yourself under the microscope of those who judge. Prepare yourself for this uncomfortable possibility. Now, here's your host, Dr. Jarret Patton.
Welcome to this episode of License to Live. My name is Dr. Jarret Patton, and I'm your host for our journey together today and every day you choose to listen to this show. If you or anyone you know has been dissed in their career, disenfranchised, dissatisfied, displaced, disgruntled, this is the place to learn much more about career challenges and life changes. Just go to your favorite podcast player and hit subscribe and listen to License to Live. And while you're there, make sure you rate this episode and give me feedback so I make sure I'm providing you with the most up-to-date information about career changes and life challenges. Well, today coming across my desk was just another rankings list that we have to talk about. They talked about the best places to work and live as a doctor. And well, some of you guys live in some of those places. Other of you guys, maybe not so much. This list will definitely surprise you because these aren't necessarily places that would come to the top of the mind for many people. But we are going to get through this list and talk about moving in regards to your career right after we finish thanking our sponsors.
Something smells good. EH3 coffee. EH3 coffee. Premium organic. Nothing better than waking up. EH3 in your cup. Premium organic. EH3 coffee. Nothing better than in the middle of your day. EH3 coffee. Premium organic. EH3 coffee.
Hey, this is Dr. Jarret Patton. Do you need more positivity in your life? No matter what part of your life you want to transform, positive affirmations can help you achieve your goals. But sometimes making permanent changes can be difficult. Designed with you in mind, License to Live. Daily affirmations to rebuild your life will inspire and equip you to become the best version of yourself. License to Live. Daily affirmations to rebuild your life will set you on the path to changing your mindset, beliefs, speech, and ultimately your actions. You can change your life now by getting your copy at Amazon, Barnes & Noble, your finer book retails, or licensedtolive.com. That's licensedtolive.com.
Hey guys, this is Janae Noonan, and I'm here with Dr. Jarret on License to Live. Hit the subscribe, follow the journey. Let's go.
Listen up. Listen up. License to Live, the conference 2023 is on its way. Get your early bird tickets now at licensedtolive.com. Well, some of you guys move jobs every 18 months, every 2 years, and you just like to move. And a lot of people out there don't end up getting what they wanted out of that move. They just got the headaches of a move. And unfortunately, things in life don't really change because, well, I just thought it was a new environment. I just thought I needed to move to a new place. Personally, I don't like to move. And if I would never have to actually move again, I would be okay with that. Although I want to live in other places, I just don't like to move. But I do remember a time when I needed to move jobs. I mean, early on in my early career days, I loved being a pediatrician, but I also loved leadership. And even after those first few years on the job, I knew that I wanted to do more. I knew that taking care of kids was fun, taking care of families was fun, but I also wanted to be a leader. And so I was about 3 years into my career as a pediatrician when the medical director was going to leave for a bigger and better job at another institution. I said, great, this is my opening to step in. And I said, I know the system, I know what I'm doing now, and I'll be able to help pick up the reins of this clinic and move on. Well, I knew I was ready for this. I felt charged up. I was like, let's go. So I looked and I said, I'm going to put my resume together. I'm going to get a little cover letter, and I'm going to talk about wanting to be the medical director of a pediatric clinic. And well, I'll tell you what, it did not go as I thought it was going to go. I thought I was going to be the obvious choice. They could hire internally and move on. But the leadership of these clinics just really thought that I wasn't the guy. In fact, so much so that they didn't even want a pediatrician managing the clinic. They wanted to get a family doctor to do so, which was not a big deal at face value. But I felt as a pediatrician, who would know pediatrics better than a pediatrician? Well, that was my take on things. And then the feedback came that stuck with me until this day. Well, you know what? I think eventually you would be a great leader for us, but you just need a little more seasoning. Yeah, a little more seasoning. Like I'm a piece of steak or something, and we're getting the salt shaker out there. Shika, 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 shika. And the pepper grinder, crank, crank, crank. And just put a little more seasoning on me. Oh, well, as you see, that did not go over well with me. I just kind of felt like I was not even taken seriously. And that was the signal to me that maybe I don't have a future here. I'm just fine to be seeing kids every day. But if it comes to being a leader and making some change, they didn't see it. Well, then I didn't see it. And well, I started looking, and I didn't have to look very far. Actually, I probably looked just outside of whatever restricted covenant was built into my contract, because ultimately I did not have to move, but I moved into a new position at another organization that put me up for a nice long run. I had a nice long run where I was able to not only come in as a general pediatrician and practice inpatient and outpatient and cover the newborn nursery and all the things some of you super pediatricians do out there, but I also became a medical director, and that set up a nice long run of leadership for me. It went from being a medical director to ultimately a division chief to ultimately president of the medical staff, overseeing nearly 1,500 doctors, all the way up to being a board of trustee member of this very same institution. So for me, I had a great long leadership run that was perfect for me. And well, that's how things went for me. And then I really didn't need to move or do anything differently. I just could do some of the things that I love to do. Well, and then of course, License to Live happened, but that's a whole nother story. And it brings us to this new list that came out. So Wallet Hub did do this survey, and they tried to look at the best states for physicians and where they could live. Now, there are a number of places that go through these surveys and these lists, and they give their different opinions. And for this particular survey, and of course, I'll leave the links in the show notes so you can get to it yourself and dig all into the details. But they looked at it from two major categories: the medical environment as well as opportunity and competition. So under opportunity and competition, they looked at physicians' annual wage, their monthly starting salary, hospitals per capita, the insured population rate, employer-based insurance rate, projected share of elderly population, medical residents trained, CME credits required, and even looking at the interstate medical licensure compact law. So they looked at all of these things as far as just what are your opportunities out there? And under the medical environment, they looked at things like quality of public health system, hospital safety, physician assistance per capita, malpractice award payout per capita, annual malpractice liability insurance rate, and physician burnout. So they used a number of different measures in order to come up with their rankings. And well, the rankings in and of themselves are pretty interesting because, well, the ones that are seemingly the best states to practice, well, most of those states I haven't been to, so I wouldn't really know. They're relatively sparse states and in population. I'll just read off the top five. Coming at 5, Minnesota; 4, Wisconsin; 3, Idaho; 2, South Dakota; 1, Montana. So a lot of those places I haven't been. I've been to Minnesota and Wisconsin. You know, luckily Louisiana is on the list. They're number 6. And I have been to Louisiana. And well, all of you folks that listen to the show down there, you know I love to go down there because on my social media, anytime I'm on Bourbon Street or New Orleans or some famous place down there, I will post it because, well, that was my second home since I went to Xavier University of Louisiana. XU. So those top 5 states, you know, okay, well, are they the top 5 places that I would want to live? Well, no, because when I look at them, I look at cold, cold, colder, coldest, cold, cold. Those are all definitely hard winter states, long winter states. And I'm just not a winter sports guy. But if you are, you may want to consider the move. Now, I'll flip all the way down to the bottom of the list. And I'll start because at the last 5. So coming in at 47, we have the District of Columbia. 48 is New Jersey. 49 is Alaska. 50, Rhode Island. 51, Hawaii. Now, that's kind of crazy that Hawaii is the last on the list, but a lot of that probably has to do with the expense of Hawaii versus the wage you probably make as a physician in Hawaii. So if there are any of you 5-starters that live and work in Hawaii, please reach out to me because I want to know what it's like there. And can you have a livable wage in Hawaii? Now, I love to go visit there. You guys have seen some of my posts and pics that come up from Hawaii. And, well, I have to let you know, if I could move there someday, I very well might. But other places of note, Pennsylvania, that's where I mainly practice. They came in at 43. We know that Pennsylvania has some issues with their malpractice payouts and laws and reform, and there's a lot going on there. For all you docs out there that are thinking of moving, New York was 44, Massachusetts 45. So there are a lot of these East Coast heavily populated states that are out there. But then you guys think of, well, what about some of these nicer places to live or places that have a harder licensure to obtain, like Texas, for instance? They came in at 21. North Carolina came in at 22. When we ship all the way down to 36, we find California. 37 is Florida. So we're not looking at lifestyle in this poll. We're just looking at where's a great place to practice, and maybe you won't have so much competition that'll be out there. So hey, take it with a grain of salt because, well, this list is great. I know I don't want to practice in any of the top 5 places for sure. They're just way too cold. And, well, if 51 ends up being Hawaii, that is hard for me to swallow, too, because I think it's a wonderful place to live, but it just may not be that great of a place to practice. And if I live there, I definitely would not be practicing there. Anyway, that's just me. So all you fire starters, chime in on social media. Hit me up at Dr. Jarret. Spell out the word doctor, J-A, 2 R's, E, 1 T, because I'd love to hear what you think about where your state ranks. Now, when we look at moving, fire starters, I told you already, I hate moving. I absolutely hate moving. I don't like packing things up, putting them in boxes, shipping them off somewhere. And if I don't have to move, I won't. The person who moves into my home after me may have a fully furnished home that has all types of amenities in it because I just may not take anything. But there are some things for you to consider before you move to your new place. And we will get back to these things that you must do right after we finish thanking our sponsor.
The time is now to refresh your career. We help doctors, lawyers, executives, and VIPs refresh and restart. Dr. Jarret's coaching helps you build confidence, gain more credibility, develop more leadership skills, and gain clarity in your career path. Want to climb the executive ladder or branch out on your own? We'll put your career in overdrive. Visit drjarret.com and sign up for your free strategy session.
Now, moving to a new location can be fun. It can be invigorating. It can be something that you really say is going to change my life. And I would see this a lot in my patients as well. When I was practicing heavily, the family would say, oh, we're going to move. We're going to move off to Puerto Rico. We're going to move off to here. We're going to move off to there. And they go off and move to have their perfect life. And I would just ask them, well, why are you moving? Well, it's not that good here. It's not as many job opportunities, blah, 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 blah. Whatever the reason would be, they would have a reason and then they would move. Well, a year or 2 years, 3 years, maybe I might see them back and say, oh, I thought you moved. What happened? Yeah, I did, but it wasn't that good here. I decided to move back. Well, these are the types of things I don't want you to be doing because sometimes all too many of us feel that, hey, if I just move, I need a clean break, I need a fresh start, and that is going to get me to the next level. There's a few things I want you to consider before you actually make that move. And you need to figure out the first one, which is why. Why are you moving? Why is it so important for you to move right now? Are you looking for a change of scenery? Are you looking for another opportunity? Do you think that the weather is going to be better or the lifestyle is going to be better to where you move? You need to have a detailed list of why you're moving. So all of the things that you don't like in this current situation, you're going to want to know some of the things that you do like in your current situation so that when you do move, you have a number of those things checked off your list. But then you have to compute how is moving going to make your why change in a more permanent fashion. So if you're simply trying to avoid something or you had a rough few days at work and you said, I'm out of here, I'm going somewhere else, be specific about these things because you don't want to walk into the same situation where you left off. And that happens way too many times that people move and they find themselves in a rut as soon as that honeymoon period is over, get a few months down the road and you say, life sucks all over again. You have to start thinking, is it me? Or is it the situation? So this is why I want you to look at all the whys of why you're moving, all the things that you like about your current place, and all the things that you think you're going to like about your future place. But don't neglect the things that you don't like, because far too often people don't look at that and find that they find themselves in the exact same position, stuck all over again after having a move. The second thing to think about is, where are you moving to? You're going to look for a lot of reasons on why you're looking. And if you want to use this Wallet Hub list, that is just perfectly fine, because, well, that's a starting point. And you can say, well, if Montana is such a great place to practice, maybe I want to go to Montana for my next job. Even though I don't know anybody in Montana, I've never been to Montana, I don't know many things that are in Montana, but if that's where you want to go, that is where you will be. But you have to look at where is this place? And so, especially if you're making a move far away into another state or another region of the country, or let alone a region outside of the country, and you're looking at a brand new country, look at where, and you have to do your research. Don't just go there on vacation and say, this is the place for me, because it's always going to be the place for you. If you're on vacation, you're going to love a place. You go on a vacation to get away. You go on a vacation to have fun. And just because you had a great vacation there does not mean that it's going to be the place for you to live for the next X years of your life while you're trying to work this new job. So do some heavy research on where. So where you're moving. So what is that going to be like for you? What is that going to be like for your kids? What is that going to be like for your friends and family? Say you do move to Hawaii. Nobody may ever be able to afford to come visit you. You may be extremely isolated and find yourself flying across the Pacific to come back and visit people all the time. That will have to be put into your budget. But according to Wallet Hub, Hawaii is the worst place, so maybe you won't go there anyway. So finally, the third thing I want you to think about is what. We talked about why, we talked about where, and now we're talking about what. What happens next? This is the point where you really need to spend some time thinking. Just because you scored a great job or a great position or have a great new title as you're going to be moving off to here, you still need to be thinking about what happens next. Because are you going to be putting yourself in a situation where you're just going into a dead-end job, like another dead-end job where there's no opportunity for advancement, there's no opportunity for further fulfillment in your job, and where you start is where you end up? Think about what happens next, because you need to see a path forward. So just, getting in this new position, in this new job, in this new area is great. It's wonderful. It's fantastic. But you need to look beyond that. Don't just look at the short-sighted, yes, I scored a new position. Now look at what may happen next, because if you want to continue to advance and go up the proverbial pipeline and just keep moving right on up until you get into a C-suite job somewhere, then that's great. But you need to do a little bit of research on how that may happen, because if you do move to the best place to practice, Montana, and you say, oh, great, I have this new position in Montana, what you may find out is that you don't have any room for growth. You don't have any room for additional opportunity. And where you come in is where you will reside. Now, don't get me wrong. There's nothing wrong with that if that's ultimately what you want to do. But if you are a fire starter out there looking for something bigger and better for yourself, and then in a couple of years, you're going to want to do something even bigger and better for yourself, you want to be able to see if you can do that in the same place. Is there room for growth? What happens next? So consider all of these things. The why are you moving? The where are you moving to? And what happens next as you are deciding whether a move is right for you? Because by taking those few steps, you're going to set yourself up, and you may find out that you don't need to move at all. And you may just be just fine exactly where you are. And You don't have to go for the boxes and the this and the that and all the headaches associated with it. Did I tell you guys I don't like to move? But anyway, I want you guys to have the best possibilities and the best opportunities to move forward. Simply ask why, simply ask where, and simply ask what. Remember, fire starters, if you or anyone you know has been dissed, please invite them to join us along this journey. Simply go to your favorite podcast player and hit subscribe to License to Live. And while you're there, rate this episode and let us know what we can do to make this show the best show possible to keep you up to date on career challenges and life changes. And if you want to hang out in between episodes, I'm on social media all the time. Check me out and connect with me on LinkedIn at Dr. Jarret. Spell out the word Dr. J-A-2-R-E-1-T. And we will see you next time.
No matter how disheartening the moment of accusation sounds, how deep the pain of immobilization stabs, or how bleak your future looks, no one can take away your license to live. Keep Dr. Jarret's expertise handy and unlock your future. Go to Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, or another podcast player and subscribe right now to Licensed to Live. See you next time.